The calculated deception. The endless Antarctic night offered no warmth, only the whistling wind that battered the dome-shaped structures of the global space communication array. Inside the central observatory, Dr. Elijah Winters huddled over his console, the blue light from multiple screens casting ghostly shadows across his weathered face. 15 years of listening to the cosmos had taught him patience, but nothing had prepared him for what his instruments detected on that fateful night. Director Winters, I'm getting something odd on frequency band Delta 7, called out Technician Wei, her voice cutting through the usual ambient hum of the facility. Probably another pulsar, Elijah replied without looking up. Run it through the standard analysis protocol. Already did, sir. This isn't natural. The pattern repeats precisely every 127.8 seconds with mathematical precision. And, Wei hesitated, it's changing in response to our passive scans. Elijah's head snapped up. In 3 decades of SETI work, nothing had ever responded to their observation methods. He moved to Wei's station, his heart suddenly pounding. The data stream flowing across her screen showed clear evidence of intelligent design, sequential prime numbers followed by what appeared to be a rudimentary translation key. Get me Director General Akafer, now. Within 48 hours, the United Earth Governance Council was convened in an emergency session in Geneva. The chamber buzzed with nervous energy as representatives from all 194 nations gathered. It was 2187, and humanity had finally achieved what generations had dreamed of, a unified planet working in harmony after the climate wars of the 2080s. The Grand Council chamber, with its transparent dome revealing the restored Swiss landscape beyond, stood as a testament to humanity's resilience. The signal originates from what appears to be a fleet of vessels approaching from the direction of the Pleiades cluster, Elijah explained, his voice echoing through the chamber. Based on their deceleration pattern, they will reach Earth orbit in approximately 27 days. Director General Enkeche Okafor, a tall woman with imposing presence, stood from her central position. After all our searching, the stars have finally answered. The question now becomes, what do we do with this answer? The debates raged for days. Some advocated for immediate military preparation, others for open-arms diplomacy. In the end, the path of peaceful first contact won out, at least officially. What the public didn't know was that beneath the Vatican, in bunkers dating back to World War II but thoroughly modernized, General Vivian Holt was having a very different conversation with the Shadow Council, the clandestine security arm of the Earth governance. I've reviewed Dr. Winter's full data set, General Holt said, her eyes hard as she addressed the 12 holographic figures surrounding her. The approaching vessels have been actively scanning our defenses while transmitting their friendly messages. They're assessing our military capabilities. You sound certain they have hostile intent, General, said Counselor Takahashi. I'm certain of nothing except that we'd be fools not to prepare for the worst. Humanity has a habit of assuming other intelligent life will share our current values rather than our historical patterns. She gestured to the holographic display showing the approaching fleet. These vessels are armed, heavily. Thus began the dual response to humanity's first contact. On the surface, Earth prepared a grand welcome for their cosmic visitors. Meanwhile, General Holt's Human Defense Initiative activated sleeper cells of military personnel and scientists who had been preparing for this possibility for decades. 27 days later, the Meridian fleet entered Earth orbit. Their ships were breathtaking, impossibly smooth silver-blue vessels that seemed to flow rather than fly, changing shape subtly as they moved. The lead ship transmitted a message in perfect English, having apparently studied human broadcasts. Greetings, people of Earth. We are the Meridian Collective, travelers and scholars from the stars you call the Pleiades. We come seeking friendship and cultural exchange with your vibrant world. The Meridian delegation that landed in the international first contact zone outside New Delhi was even more astonishing than their ships. They appeared humanoid, but stood nearly 7 feet tall with iridescent skin that shifted colors with their emotions. Their ambassador, who called himself Nyx, spoke with a melodic voice that seemed to bypass the ears and resonate directly in the mind. We have watched your species overcome division and war, Nyx told the assembled world leaders. You have proven yourselves worthy of joining the greater galactic community. The world celebrated, streets filled with jubilant crowds. Artists created works depicting humanity's new cosmic friends. Children played with hastily manufactured Meridian dolls. For the first time in human history, religions, nations, and cultures united in welcome of these visitors from beyond. Dr. Elijah Winters was appointed to the Cultural Exchange Program, working directly with the Meridians to develop a more comprehensive language database. He spent hours with a Meridian linguist named Lyria, whose skin shimmered with turquoise patterns when she made breakthroughs in understanding. Your species communicates so inefficiently, Lyria observed one day, her head tilted at that peculiar angle all Meridians used when puzzled. Why do you not simply share thoughts directly? Perhaps because we value the privacy of our minds, Elijah replied, watching her carefully. Would your people be comfortable with humans reading their thoughts? A flicker of deep purple anxiety he had learned rippled across Lyria's skin before she controlled it. Of course, the Meridian Collective has nothing to hide. That momentary reaction confirmed what Elijah had begun to suspect. As he left the exchange center that evening, he made a small detour, activating a hidden device in his watch that uploaded everything he'd observed to General Holt's secure server. Beneath the Antarctic ice, in chambers unknown even to most world governments, General Holt received Elijah's data along with reports from other operatives embedded in the cultural exchange program. They're probing our defenses, our resource distribution, our command structures, reported Colonel Tomas Reyes, her second-in-command. And they're particularly interested in our quantum communication networks. Then it's time to activate Project Chimera, Holt decided. Alert all shadow bases. We have perhaps 2 months before they make their move. While the world basked in the glow of interstellar friendship, hidden factories beneath the Gobi Desert, the Amazon Basin, and the Mariana Trench worked at full capacity. Engineers who had spent their careers developing theoretical weapons now saw their designs take physical form. Ships that had been disguised as underwater research stations began to move into position. The Meridians continued their charm offensive, offering carefully measured gifts of technology, improved solar collection methods, modest medical advancements, nothing that would truly transform human capabilities. All the while, they mapped Earth's resources, studied human psychology, and identified strategic targets. In his role as cultural liaison, Elijah gained the trust of several Meridians, particularly Lyria. During their daily sessions, he carefully extracted information piece by subtle piece. When she mentioned the great harvests on other worlds, he asked innocent questions about Meridian agriculture. When she spoke of the integration process, he nodded thoughtfully while his recording devices captured every word. 3 months after their arrival, the Meridians announced they would host a Unity Summit aboard their mothership, a special ceremony to formally welcome Earth into what they called the Galactic Harmony. World leaders eagerly accepted. The night before the summit, Elijah met with General Holt in a secured room beneath the Geneva Council chamber. They're going to make their move tomorrow, he said, placing a data crystal on the table between them. I've confirmed it. The Unity Summit is when they'll activate their embedded systems and begin the invasion. Holt nodded grimly. We're ready. Operation Silent Shield is in place. Every major population center has hidden defenses. Our stealth fleet is positioned. The moment they show their true intentions, we strike. And the world leaders attending the summit. Body doubles, every one of them. The real leadership is safely hidden in the Himalayan redoubt. Holt's eyes softened momentarily. You've done well, Elijah. Your name won't appear in any public record of what's about to happen, but know that humanity owes you a debt we can never repay. The next day, as the supposed world leaders boarded shuttles to the Meridian mothership, tension mounted in the hidden command centers around the globe. In Antarctica, Elijah watched the proceedings via secure feed, his stomach tight with anticipation. Aboard the mothership, Ambassador Nix welcomed the human delegation with grand gestures and flowing speech. Today marks the beginning of a new chapter for Earth, he announced, his skin glowing golden. Your world will never be the same after this historic moment. In that, at least, he spoke the truth. As the ceremony reached its climax, Nix's form suddenly shifted, his beautiful iridescent skin hardening into armored plates. The golden glow turned blood red. People of Earth, his voice now harsh and mechanical, your species has been evaluated and found useful. Your biological diversity and this planet's resources will serve the Meridian Collective well. Resistance is. His transmission was cut short as Earth showed its hand. Around the globe, hidden defense systems activated. Shield generators previously disguised as communications towers created energy barriers over cities. Weapon platforms emerged from beneath oceans and mountains. In orbit, Earth's cloaked defense fleet decloaked, revealing ships with technology the Meridians had never detected. General Holt's voice thundered across global communications. Citizens of Earth, remain calm. Operation Silent Shield is now active. Our visitors have revealed their true intentions and humanity is ready. The carefully orchestrated deception was over. Now came humanity's response. The unforgiving response. The first shots of the war were fired in Earth's orbit. As Meridian warships powered up their weapons, expecting to obliterate Earth's major cities, they instead found their targeting systems jammed by technology that shouldn't have existed on such a supposedly primitive world. Captain Naomi Rhodes stood on the bridge of the EDF Reckoning, humanity's first true battle cruiser, previously disguised as a decommissioned space station. Her dark eyes remained steady as the massive vessel decloaked along with 50 others in Earth's defensive formation. "All ships report ready, Captain," announced her tactical officer, Lieutenant Kazuo Tanaka. "Meridian fleet appears disoriented by our countermeasures." "Good," Naomi replied, her voice calm despite the weight of what was about to happen. "Transmit to all Earth vessels. Operation Thunderstrike commences in 30 seconds. Target their propulsion systems first. We want them trapped here." As the space battle erupted in Earth's orbit, the Meridian forces found themselves facing an enemy they had severely underestimated. The human vessels moved with impossible precision, their weapons penetrating shields calibrated to stop far more advanced technology. Unknown to the Meridians, humanity had been studying traces of alien technology for over a century, recovered from crashed scout ships and covert observations of passing fleets. On the Meridian mothership, High Commander Xerix watched in disbelief as his supposedly superior forces struggled against the human counterattack. "Impossible," he hissed, his skin flashing crimson with rage. Their technological level was assessed at barely interstellar capable. His second-in-command, Vex, analyzed the incoming data with growing alarm. "Commander, they showed us what they wanted us to see. These humans. They've been preparing for this specific scenario for generations." On Earth's surface, the Meridian ground forces that had managed to land found themselves facing a similar nightmare. In the ruins of Barcelona, Colonel Julian Vega led his resistance cell through the ancient tunnel networks beneath the city. "Remember," he whispered to his team of 20 fighters, each wearing armor that looked civilian but could withstand Meridian energy weapons, "they rely on their targeting systems. We rely on knowing every stone of our home." As the Meridian troops marched through the city plaza, their crystalline armor gleaming, Julian gave the signal. The ground beneath the aliens suddenly collapsed, not from explosives, which their sensors would have detected, but from hydraulic systems that had been installed decades ago and kept in perfect working order for just such an occasion. As the disoriented Meridians struggled to regroup in the artificial sinkhole, Julian's team struck from all directions, using weapons specifically designed to exploit weaknesses in Meridian physiology. High-frequency sonic disruptors that shattered their crystalline armor and caused their color-shifting skin to freeze in patterns of distress. Similar scenes played out in cities worldwide. In Mumbai, subway maintenance worker Prisha Patel led hundreds of civilians through hidden bunkers that transformed into command centers. What appeared to be ordinary citizens revealed themselves as trained militia, pulling weapons from concealed caches in parks, schools, and hospitals. The Meridians had expected to face a unified but ultimately conventional military response. Instead, they found themselves fighting an entire species that had turned their entire planet into a fortress, with every human a potential soldier and every building a potential trap. In the Antarctic Command Center, Dr. Elijah Winters worked feverishly with his team, analyzing Meridian communications they'd intercepted during the months of friendly contact. "I've got it," he announced finally, looking up from his console with red-rimmed eyes. "Their communication encryption is based on a quantum entanglement system, but they use a standard carrier wave to synchronize the entangled particles. If we can disrupt that carrier wave, we can blind their entire command structure," finished General Holt, who had been monitoring their progress. "How quickly can you implement this?" "The disruption protocol is ready now," Elijah replied. "But there's something else. I've been analyzing their language, their behavior patterns. The Meridians have conquered dozens of worlds, but they've always followed the same pattern. They've never faced meaningful resistance. Their psychology can't handle prolonged frustration if we can hold them off long enough." "They'll break," Holt concluded with grim satisfaction. "Then let's make sure they're as frustrated as possible. Implement your disruption protocol. I'll inform our forces to shift to psychological warfare tactics." Within hours, the Meridian invasion force began to experience catastrophic communications failures. Ground troops lost contact with orbital support. Ship commanders could no longer coordinate their movements. And into this confusion, humanity broadcast carefully crafted messages directly into Meridian communication channels, fear-inducing sounds at frequencies that triggered anxiety responses in their alien physiology, visuals designed to create disorientation, and even false orders that led entire battalions into carefully prepared traps. But the true turning point of the war came when humanity revealed its ultimate secret. They hadn't been alone in their preparations. As the battle entered its second day, new ships appeared at the edge of the solar system, vessels of designs unlike anything the Meridians had seen before. The quantum communications network lit up with messages in dozens of alien languages, all directed toward Earth. In the Geneva bunker, Director General Acaffer addressed the emergency session of Earth's leadership. What you are witnessing is the activation of the Stellar Alliance Defense Pact. For over 70 years, Earth has maintained secret diplomatic relations with 17 spacefaring civilizations who also recognize the threat posed by the Meridian Collective. Screens displayed the approaching Allied fleet, sleek vessels from the aquatic Centauri, crystalline ships piloted by the gaseous Nephrim, and massive organic-looking cruisers of the insectoid Vantari. All species that had either resisted Meridian expansion in the past or had chosen to hide their existence rather than face conquest. Aboard the EDF Reckoning, Captain Rhodes received the transmission from Earth Command with a grim smile. Tactical, coordinate with the Stellar Alliance vessels. Let's close the net around these bastards. The arrival of Earth's alien allies shattered whatever remained of Meridian confidence. High Commander Xerix watched in horror as his invasion force found itself surrounded by a coalition that could not exist. Your species will pay for this deception, he snarled in his final communication to Earth's leadership. The full might of the Meridian Collective will descend upon your world. This was merely a vanguard force. General Holt's reply was calm and measured. We counted on that, Commander. Your main fleet is exactly what we're waiting for. Your vanguard was never going to leave this system to report back. On Earth, the ground war shifted decisively in humanity's favor. Colonel Vega's tactics had spread worldwide, using the urban environment as a weapon, striking from unexpected angles and disappearing before the Meridians could mount an effective response. In New Shanghai, resistance fighters led by former architect Lin Wei used her intimate knowledge of the city's infrastructure to flood entire districts, short-circuiting Meridian energy weapons and forcing them into close-quarters combat where humans held the advantage. By the third day, Meridian landing parties found themselves isolated and surrounded. Their superior technology meant little when their supply lines were cut, their communications jammed, and their commanders unable to coordinate a coherent strategy. The space battle culminated in a daring operation led by Captain Rhodes herself. Using intelligence provided by Dr. Winter's team, she identified a critical vulnerability in the Meridian mothership's defensive systems, a brief synchronization window in their shield harmonics that occurred when they recharged their main weapons. All ships, this is Rhodes, she broadcast to the combined Human and Stellar Alliance fleet. Execute Operation Guillotine on my mark. Focus all fire on the designated coordinates when the target's shields flicker. The coordinated attack struck with surgical precision. Hundreds of vessels fired simultaneously at the exact moment when the Meridian flagship's shields fluctuated. The massive ship's protective barrier collapsed, and before it could recover, EDF Reckoning delivered the coup de grace, a specially designed quantum disruptor that targeted the mothership's power core. The resulting explosion illuminated Earth's orbit like a second sun. As the flagship disintegrated, the remaining Meridian forces fell into disarray. Without their command structure, without their presumed technological advantage, and facing an enemy that seemed to anticipate their every move, they began to surrender. In the aftermath, as Earth's hidden defenses stood revealed and the full extent of humanity's preparation became clear, the Meridian prisoners could only watch in stunned silence. They had encountered many species in their long history of conquest, but never one so paradoxical, outwardly peaceful while maintaining the capacity for such coordinated violence, openly welcoming while secretly prepared for betrayal. 1 month after the failed invasion, Dr. Elijah Winters found himself in a secure meeting room beneath Geneva, sitting across from a Meridian prisoner, Lyria, the linguist he had worked with during the deception phase. Her skin was pale gray now, the vibrant colors of her species dimmed by defeat. You knew all along, she said, not a question but a statement. Every conversation we had, every cultural exchange, you were gathering intelligence. Just as you were, Elijah replied evenly. The difference is that we didn't underestimate you, we couldn't afford to. How long, Lyria asked, how long has Earth been preparing for us? Not specifically for the Meridians, Elijah explained, but for first contact gone wrong since the first radio signals were detected from space. Humanity has spent most of its history fighting itself. We developed a certain paranoia about threats. When we unified our world, we didn't abandon our capacity for warfare, we simply hid it better. General Holt entered the room, accompanied by representatives from 3 Stellar Alliance species. Dr. Winters, it's time for the council meeting. The Meridian prisoner should return to her cell. As Lyria was led away, she turned back to Elijah. You realize this isn't over. The Meridian Collective spans hundreds of worlds. They will come in force when our vanguard doesn't return. Elijah's smile held no warmth. We're counting on it. Your people have spent millennia as conquerors, facing little meaningful resistance. Now you'll learn what it means to face an enemy who has spent its entire existence fighting first itself, then its own planet, and now the stars. Humanity was forged in conflict, Lyria. Your people simply reminded us of what we're capable of when threatened. In the Grand Council chamber, representatives of Earth and the Stellar Alliance gathered to discuss the future. The transparent dome now revealed not just the Swiss landscape, but also the orbiting defense platforms and allied ships, no longer hidden but proudly displayed as a warning to any who might threaten Earth again. Director General Akafer addressed the assembly, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's new reality. For generations, we dreamed of a united Earth at peace with itself. We achieved that dream, but we never forgot the lessons of our violent history. The Meridian Collective thought our peaceful nature meant weakness. They have learned otherwise. She gestured to the holographic display showing the combined Earth and Stellar Alliance fleet. To our allies who stood with us, we offer our deepest gratitude. To those watching from afar, uncertain of where to place their allegiance in the coming storm, our message is simple. Earth is not a prize to be taken. We are not conquerors, but neither will we be conquered. In his seat, Elijah Winters thought about everything that had led to this moment. The silent vigil of scientists who had watched the stars, the military leaders who had maintained readiness even in times of peace, the billions of ordinary humans who had carried on with their lives, never knowing the threat that loomed above them or the preparations made on their behalf. The Meridians had chosen Earth believing they had found an easy target, a unified world that had forgotten how to fight. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant and filled it with terrible resolve. As the council meeting concluded and plans were made for the inevitable Meridian counterattack, Elijah knew one thing with certainty: humanity would no longer hide its strength. The deception was over. Now, the galaxy would know exactly what Earth was capable of. The stars had brought war to Earth's doorstep, and humanity had answered in kind. The age of innocence was over, the age of vigilance had begun.